Joseline's Cabaret, Texas, episode 1 review slash recap. Now, I can't lie, I'm still excited to see this whole season, but this intro episode kind of disappointed me. It was about a 7 out of 10. Very lackluster, a lot of time wasted. The first 5 minutes was them showing us a whole long, recap of everything that happened last season, plus another preview of everything that's going to happen this season and all the cities that they go into in Texas, and they go into Cancun in Mexico. Then we spent another 3 or 4 minutes listening to Joseline's new song, Dámelo, Estoy Forever, or whatever the fuck she's saying, and watching her music video, which was nice. It included all of the girls. I know sometimes the music videos that she did before didn't include the girls, so this was nice. More shine for the girls in the cabaret. The song is catchy. I'm sure by the end of the season, we'll be singing it just like Do It Like It's My B-Day and doing cha-cha. So Joseline says that she's sober this season, drink-free and drug-free. But remember, she said that last season when she was like, this is the first performance that I've ever done with no drugs, no alcohol, no this, no that. So it's like, girl, I don't know if I could take you serious or not. Returning cast members are Raven, Diamond, Danny, Andrea, and Wet Wet. Out of those 4, I really only like Wet Wet. I used to like Raven, but she turned me off. Now, after all of that, we see Joseline coming into the house. And of course, we get a shot of her damn near naked getting in the pool for no reason whatsoever. So this season, there's a 50,000 grand prize, which is actually a decent size amount of money and giving the lady something to really fight for. Joseline also tells us that she has Erica Mena guest starring and hosting a party for her. That's a chop, but whatever. And then Joseline lets Ballistic know that she wants Wet Wet as a house mom because she can't dance and she doesn't have the look, but she knows Joseline, she knows what Joseline's looking for, and she's been around for a while. Ballistic doesn't see it for Wet Wet. Honestly, I'm like, she clearly brought Wet Wet on for more entertainment and not to really be a house mom. The best person who could have been a house mom from older seasons would have been Sapphire or Lexi Blow. So, of course, Wet Wet said yes, so we see her intro to the season. Still giving the same energy, Paris and London. Her teeth aren't fixed yet on this show, but her teeth are fixed present day, so shout out to Wet Wet for that. So, at this point, we see that all the OGs are getting on this bus together, so we start to get their intros as well. Diamond is telling us that she had a baby and she's known for her boobs. No, girl, you're known for saying the N-word and then Amber fought you about it. Bye. Raven talking about, I know y'all surprised to see me back after I hit that concrete. Yeah, I really am. It's embarrassing for you, honestly. You got chokeslammed to the ground and you're back. And then I said Andrea and Danny are coming back feeling tough and with completely different energies than they had on their original season, which was last season. They were both pretty quiet and meek, and now they're just extra loud and extra and tough. They started getting that way towards the end of their first season, though. So Wet Wet starts explaining how she had commented on Joseline's post saying she didn't like her outfit, and Andrea and Danny chimed in being Joseline's minions and started arguing with her. And Wet Wet admits that she said that Andrea is more of a mom to her voodoo doll than her own child when they were beefing on social media. She also talked about Danny. So Andrea and Danny get on the bus with them. So Wet Wet lets them all know that she's going to be the house mom. And Diamond was like, so if I need a straightener, if I need a tampon, you got me. And Wet Wet was like, well, I'm going to do my best to assist y'all ladies, but y'all should have really came with y'all shit together. So Raven asks Andrea, well, I know you and Wet Wet been beefing, so how do you feel about her being the house mom? And Andrea was like, well, it's nothing that Wet Wet could give me or do for me. And Wet Wet was like, well, I never talked about your kid. I said you need to be a mom. And Andrea was like, but my thing is you have a kid too. And your kid has special needs. So basically she was saying like, you need to be there more for your kid than I need to be there for mine. Because Andrea says she has a husband and a nanny as well. So she like, I have a husband and a nanny taking care of my kid and my kid doesn't have special needs. Your kid has special needs and you don't have all of that support that I have. So who are you to talk about me? And with the way Andrea carries herself, I would have never thought that she was a wife and a mom with a nanny, which requires your husband to be having a certain kind of income or for you to be having a certain kind of income. So what are you here for? Like, confusion. I'm not gonna lie, Andrea was eating Wet Wet up. She was like, you got to get your priorities together. You got your boobs done before you got your kids in the house. Wet Wet was like, I got my Section 8 before I got my titties done. Like, Section 8, she's talking about taking your money from dancing and saving it and getting your kids a house before you went and spent money on boobs. So Danny gets into it with Wet Wet and she's like, you know I want to fight. Like, I'm not doing all this talking. I want to fight because you was talking about me too. So Wet Wet seemed like she ain't want to fight for real at the moment, at least. And Raven and Diamond was basically like, we headed to see Joseline, so let's just leave this alone for now. But obviously this is going to come back up. So Erica and Joseline talk backstage and flirt backstage, putting their titties together and stuff, child. And Joseline just lets Erica know what she wants her to do while she's out there mingling with the girls at the party. And Joseline was telling Erica, oh, you better not be messing with none of my ladies downstairs. If you're going to be effing anybody tonight, it's me, da-da-da-da. To me, that was like low-key promo for Erica's show that she has coming out, where she's going to be like dating girls and guys to find love. So we start to see all of the new girls arriving to the party. So I'm going to just give you their name and my initial thoughts. Showgirl Neek was pretty. She's from Baltimore, but she comes off a little cocky. Envy Erica from LA reminds me of a prettier version of Blueface Barbie. But she seemed fun and like she did to have a good time. And I will say that a lot of these newer girls look better and more put together than some of the other girls did on their first season of Joseline's Cabaret, such as Wet Wet. Lexi Gold is pretty. She says she's Memphis made, Houston paid. She was someone who stood out to me in the teasers and the trailers, so I'm interested to see more about her. And I also noticed that there's more like bigger BBW girls and natural girls this season, which I like because there's more variety and not everybody needs to have a BBL to be successful as a dancer or whatever they want to do. Queen Envy from the south side of Chicago. She says she's the number one BBW out of Chicago. She's cute. I don't really have much thoughts about her. Kay from Miami looks so fake, like Botox plastic fake. She says she don't like fighting and she's from Miami. I like Jayla. Her personality stood out to me and she's pretty. She reminds me of Jay Dreams from the first season of Joseline's Cabaret, where it's like she's rough around the edges. She might not have her stuff all the way together, but I see something in her. I like her. Isis from Michigan. She says she auditioned for Jocelyn season 4 and didn't make it, so she's back. Fetish was from Chicago. She was cute, and this is no shade, but like her neck was a different color from her face makeup, and that was bothering me. Chinks is so pretty, and she's from New York, so I'm rooting for her. So there's another girl from Brooklyn, New York named Des, aka Dominican Barbie, but I just feel like I have to feel her out a little bit more than I have to feel Chinks out, but rooting for her simply off the fact that she's from Brooklyn. There was another girl named Ocean who didn't stand out to me, and then there was a pretty BBW girl named Monica from Tacoma. She's really pretty and she stands out. So now we have all the new girls, the OGs, and Erica Mena at the same party. So everyone's mingling, and remember I said Des is from Brooklyn. So she knows Erica, and she's like, hey, Erica. And the way they greeted each other, they were hugging and talking about, hey, I missed you, and all this stuff. It was real flirty, and if you know Erica, you know they probably have messed around. So we can expect Erica to put a good word in for Des to Jocelyn. So Erica went over to the OGs, and Raven was like, Erica is really pretty. She's not giving catfish. So Erica peeped Andrea's face, and she was like, what's up with you and your stink-ass fucking face? And Andrea was like, oh, I'm chilling. But obviously she was looking like that because of Wet Wet. So Jocelyn comes out on the stage and greets all the ladies and tells them that she wants them to just show out and turn up so that she could decide who she wants to bring into the house. So Jocelyn goes to talk to all of the OGs, and she's like, so Wet Wet, how do they feel about you being the house mom? Which leads to them addressing the issue between Andrea and Wet Wet. And Raven was like, they were beefing on the bus. I know kids was being mentioned. I don't really know, but they should talk it out. So Jocelyn asks what's going on, and as Wet Wet is explaining what she said about Andrea's parenting, Andrea socks Wet Wet in the face. And then Danny jumps in from the back and just starts pulling on Wet Wet's wig or like weave to take it off. And then why is Wet Wet in the confessional with those shades on? Like, is her eye black? So now Wet Wet and Danny have a one-on-one, which it looks like Danny got the best of. Danny was uppercutting her and shit, but Wet Wet looked like she got a couple hits on the top of Danny's head. But then Wet Wet went to get her lick back on Andrea, and it looked like she kind of got the best of that second round, and I'm not mad at her for it. Here go Raven. She always putting on people random wigs that get pulled off during fights. She did that on her last season, and she was like playing Nicki Minaj doing super bass. So she was doing that again with Wet Wet's wig. So Jocelyn is like, all right, y'all, that's enough with the fighting. And Wet Wet is cool. She's playing along with Raven while Raven got her wig on. And here comes Danny tackling Wet Wet right to the ground. So next week on episode 2, it looks like it is going to be a lot more interesting, a lot more altercations going on. Wet Wet and Danny, the new girl Lexi Gold and somebody. Then when they're on the bus on their way to the house, Isis and Danny, 2 other girls. It's going to be a lot going on, and they're going to be moving into the house. So I'll see y'all next week for episode 2. Make sure you like, comment, share, follow, and support. Bye.